Well, the one silver lining in the world right now is that the NFL draft will go on as scheduled, even if there will be no fans in attendance. But the good news is, as of now, the NFL draft will continue to commence on April 23rd to the 25th, which means we can still do mock drafts. And I know it's a very difficult time, but we can use as much distraction as possible. And for Giant fans, I'm going to give you some entertainment today as we decide where the Giants are going to go in the upcoming 7-round mock draft and who I believe will be the best fits for the New York Giants and the G-Men going forward. In the first round, I have the New York Giants selecting Isaiah Simmons, the outside linebacker out of Clemson. Now, in a lot of my mock drafts, I have the Giants trading back a couple spots in order to get more draft capital. But in all my mock drafts, I still have the gang Isaiah Simmons. Now, for the sake of saying I'm not going to have those additional picks put into this draft, we'll just keep them with the picks that they have. But the Giants still get Isaiah Simmons, who, in my book, is the second best defensive player in the entire draft. We saw at the combine, this kid is a freak athlete. He is fast, and really, he's a jackknife. He can play all over the field. Now, in the Giants scheme, he will likely play outside linebacker for most of the snaps, but this is a guy who can line up in the middle. He can line up as a safety. He can even line up as a nickel corner. This is a guy who can do everything on the field, a dynamic defensive player and a blue chip prospect. And if Dave Gettleman is able to get Isaiah Simmons, in the last 3 drafts, he will have gotten 3 great blue chip prospects with the first pick for the Giants. Simmons in this draft, Daniel Jones in the previous draft, and Saquon 2 years ago. In the second round, I have the Giants selecting Adam Trautman, the tight end out of Dayton. Now, there have been multiple reports that the New York Giants are not exactly in love with Evan Ingram, especially over his injury history, and they're reportedly looking to move on. And for Daniel Jones' development, you need a security blanket. Now, this isn't a great tight end class in terms of talent, but I do think Trautman will be a guy that will be there sitting in round 2. Could be a potential late first-round pick, but more likely a second-round pick. Now, his stock did take a little bit of a hit after a great Senior Bowl with a 4.8 40 at the Combine, but this is a kid that really blew up the Senior Bowl, was a great route runner, great hands. He might not be the most dynamic tight end, but he is a tight end that can catch the football and move the chains in a clutch situation, and that's the type of guy that you need for a check down option for Daniel Jones, especially as he continues to develop as a young quarterback. In the third round, I have the New York Giants going offensive line with center Lloyd Cushenberry from LSU. This is a kid I really love, and if the Giants get him in the third round, could be a day 1 start. He's a very good pass blocking center. Now, he has struggled a bit in the running game, especially being a physical run blocker at the point of attack, but this is a kid who could come in, start right away, or even could be a valuable backup at either the center or guard positions. Great anchor, especially in pass protection, which is what you need protecting Daniel Jones. And look, this Giant offensive line wasn't bad last year, but they're starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. It's time to reinvest in the offensive line and try to find some good developmental prospects. And for those of you, that's a little bit of a spoiler coming later down the line. In the fourth round, I have them going back to Clemson for Kayvon Wallace, the safety from Clemson. He's a versatile safety. He ran a 4.5 at the Combine. And like Isaiah Simmons, he's very versatile. Can play safety, can play nickel. I really like the way that they could use him all over the field and gives this defense another very versatile piece. Now, Wallace doesn't exactly have the best cover skills. He's more known for his play in the run game. Very physical player, great tackler, but did struggle in coverage, which is why I do think you're going to see him fall to the 4th round. But once again, this is a versatile kid, good athlete, can play all over the field, and it's just one of those pieces that might not be an every down starter, but could be a valuable rotational piece in this Giants defense. In the 5th round, I have the Giants going to Syracuse to get the edge rusher Alton Robinson. This is a big project player. He's a great burst off the edge. He's very quick getting off that edge, and you saw it at Syracuse, very dynamic pass rusher. But here's the thing. Despite this athleticism that he showed in college, there's a couple of knocks on him. Now, he relies on his speed, and he ran a 4.7 at the Combine, and while that's still good speed for a defensive end, that's not exactly burner speed and not exactly speed you can just purely rely on in the NFL. And despite his great athleticism and freakish bend off the edge, he only had 4.5 sacks at Syracuse, but this is once again a very athletic edge rusher. They're very difficult to find. Could be a good situational pass rusher next year, and if you could give him a couple of pass rush tools, give him a swim move, help him develop a little bit more of a bull rush, this could be a very good edge rusher for the Giants and could be a guy that could develop into an eventual starter. but even if you only get 5 or 10 rushes out of him per game, could still be a nice versatile piece that you can plug into that defense. In the 6th round, I have the Giants getting Ben Victor, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now there's a lot of tools you like here in the toolbox. 6'4", ran a 4.6. Not the biggest burner, but still has good speed, could stretch the edge, could be a big physical presence on the outside. But the problem is not a big volume guy at Ohio State, despite the great offense that they had. 35 catches, 500 yards, 6 TDs as a senior. Can develop into a vertical receiver, but could also be a nice backup wide receiver for the Giants. And even though the volume does concern me, like Robinson, this is a kid that has a lot of great measurables, a lot of good athleticism that you can mold, and doesn't have to be an impact player right away, but could be a nice development. And over the last decade, no team has done a better job of drafting and developing wide receivers than the New York Giants, and this could be their next big project. In the 7th round, the Giants have 4 picks, so we're going to start off with the first one. That's going to be Mike ONWENUIOG, the guard from Michigan. Now, this kid is a road grader. He started 13 games over the last 2 seasons. He is a bit of a mauler, can really create some good running space, but the problem is struggles with pass block techniques. He struggles against good pass rushers, struggles against good speed rushers on the inside. And while he is a strong kid, he's not the best athlete, which is why he projects into the inside as a guard. A lot to do in terms of being a project, really could be a practice squad or a backup player, but this is a kid who is reliable in college. He's a good run blocker, and this could be a kid that eventually Saquon might really like running behind, but once again, helps with the offensive line depth. A little bit more of a project, could potentially be a practice squad player, but once again, the offensive line starting to get a bit up there, so this could be a nice project for the Giants. In the 7th round, I have them getting DEJON SCOOTA Harris. SCOOTA is his nickname, from Arkansas, the linebacker. Now, he was the team's top tackler over the past 3 seasons, and this is a kid the Giants are really interested in. Not only did they see him at the Combine, but they've had a private workout with him as well. Good in-the-box middle linebacker. He fits a 3-4 scheme, which is what the Giants are running. He does not cover well, not really great in pass coverage, not the best athlete sideline to sideline, but this is a guy, especially in running situations, very good at playing in the middle, running downhill, being a force in the run game. Kid I really like. I think you could see him eventually being a nice spot starter, could potentially be one of the strong linebackers on the inside, especially in run packages. This is a nice move where I think the Giants get some good depth, get a kid that could develop into maybe a potential star. And this is a kid they really like and might not be there in the 7th round, so you wouldn't be shocking if the Giants get this kid earlier, maybe in round. So does that mean he's moving up in the next mock draft? Stay tuned to find out. In the 7th round, I also have them getting RICO Dowdle, the running back out of South Carolina. Now, he's had some injury issues over the past 2 seasons, but he's a versatile running back, and with 22 catches out of the backfield, the Giants are looking for that 3rd down back that can catch passes out of the backfield and spell Saquon Barkley for a couple plays. And look, at this point in the 7th round, you're looking for project players, you're looking for guys that could be on the practice squad or just fill a niche role, and this is a kid that could fill a nice niche role on the Giants roster. And finally, the last 7th round pick, Tyler Huntley, the quarterback out of Utah. And I know what you're all thinking. Wait, they drafted a quarterback last year, but you still need a backup. You still need a guy you can develop into maybe a backup. And Huntley was an efficient quarterback last year, didn't turn over the football, threw for over 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he's a good athlete. He can extend plays. Now, obviously, he's not going to push Daniel Jones, but could this be a guy that you could develop, maybe put on the practice squad for the year, and then have him be the backup quarterback to Daniel Jones moving forward? It's very difficult to find good backup quarterbacks in the NFL, especially if Jones gets hurt. So you want to always have that security blanket. And look, Huntley, at this point in the draft, he's a good athlete. You can maybe fine-tune him. If he doesn't make the roster eventually, that's fine. But this is a kid, he was a smart kid in college, was an efficient quarterback in college, and he could fit the backup role quite nicely if given time. And that's our list. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest content on the NFL, the NFL draft, and the New York Giants. And Giant fans, did you like the list? Are there certain players you are hoping will be wearing the blue next year? Would love to hear you sound off in the comments below. But until next time, I'm Nolan Rich, and this is Rich Sports Talk.